Hi there friends, I hope all is well, wherever you may be. Just like to show you these stickers I'm rocking. These arrived today. Got quite a few of them actually, so if you stick till the end, I'm going to be giving these away until they're all gone. So I'll let you know how you can get your hands on a set of those. I think it's important that these stickers go on my paramotor now, and also my lid. Hell yeah. That's better. Right then, on to the video. Good morning pilots, I hope all is well wherever you may be. So in my last video I kind of talked about Gaggle flight software and that I'd make a video about it, so here we go. What we'll do is we'll talk about Gaggle, what it's all about, flight software, and then we'll get in the air and we'll show you it in practice. But first, it's time to take the dogs for a walk, and the vehicle of choice for this is going to be the Beast. So we'll go walk the dogs, we'll talk about Gaggle, and then we'll get up in the air and I'll show you it in practice. Okay, let's get a move on. So, vehicle of choice, I've shown you that already. Dogs of choice are as follows. We've got Stanley. Say hello, Stanley. No, not interested. And we've got Poppy. Hi, Poppy. She's a diva. The first thing I found when I started paramotoring is as soon as I got into the air, I got completely disorientated. When I looked behind me thinking the LZ was straight behind me after my takeoff, the reality was that I drifted slightly to the right. And so the LZ was in a completely different place to where I actually thought. So for that alone, I think it's quite invaluable. So we're almost at a forest where I like to take the dogs. So we'll have another chat about some of the features of Gaggle, and then later on we'll go up into the air and I'll show you these in practice. Alrighty, well here we are, got the mutts out, nice forest walk here. What do you think? Yeah, quite a lot of felling going on, and the remnants of a forest. How are we at the back there? I'll fly over this one day because in the 1900s, the early 1900s, so this was actually an old greyhound racetrack, would you believe? I'll put up some factoids about it, but amazingly enough, you can still see the greyhound racetrack course when you fly over it. Might even do that when we go up soon. Let's move the camera this way because the sun's right. You can't see my beautiful face. Some people don't have any flight software and fly without it, and that's all very well if you know the area. But again, I think there's a few safety things that are, quite important, I think, to use Gaggle with. You can pretty much access it on your computer as well as your phone. Now, obviously, I use it on my phone when we're flying, and I've got this phone case I use with a lot of Velcro in the back, and then I can stick it to the front of my reserve. If you've got a cockpit that you can buy, then it's great. You can stick it on there, and at a glance you can see where you are and all your navigation. Saves you having to get a phone out, look at it, etc., etc. And if you're flying in an area that you're not sure about, then I think that's imperative. So on the home page you can go in and pretty much see your last flight. You can replay it, you can have a look at all your stats. What was your height, the highest height you went to, what was your highest speed you went to, what was the biggest amount of G-force you pulled. For me that's pretty much less than 1, and things like that. So it's quite good. And then you can kind of go in and look at all your flights as well on a different page. If you go for the paid version of it, now I pay £39 a year for this, and it just gives you a lot more features. One of them is you can replay the flight in 3D, and it's quite good. So you can have a look at your flight, and you can compare it to where all your friends were in your community, that you've got on Gaggle. So it's quite good for that. I quite like that. And you also get the airspace maps on it as well for that, which I think is quite important, especially if you're flying in an area that you don't really know. You can also log on there your flight sites, or LZs. Gaggle calls it flight sites. So you can stick that on there and have a look at all the sites that people fly from in your community. There's a community button. If you click on that, you can have a look at all the guys in your community. Very important, I think, for your group to all join that community so that you can see each other when you're flying for navigation purposes and safety. And very important that all the guys you're flying with are in that community. So when you've had a good flight with a few of you, you can have a look at each other's stats and go, oh, I went faster than you, or oh, I went higher than you. So really good, actually, especially when you're air navigating. You can keep separated from one another. As you scroll down, there's a Your page as well. And you can have a look at all your personal statistics as well, all your flights, and any route planning, because what you can do is you can plan a route before you even go into the air, which is quite good. So you can go in there, plan a route. I mean, I've got loads of routes planned where I can go in, pick that route and fly it if I'm flying on my own. So also in Your page, you've got your kit. So basically, you put in there what your wing is, what your paramotor is. So in there, I've got my Monster 185 Parajet V3, and in there you can log all your service history, which is quite good actually. You can any problems you've got, notes. You also put in there your fuel consumption, as I talked about in the van. So very good. So I stick in 4 litres an hour, and then I know that when I'm up in the air, it's telling me what fuel burn I have and what I've got left. I know that I actually burn about 3.5 to 3.7 litres an hour if I'm nice. So I stick in 4 to give me a little bit of leeway. So that goes in there. And then it gives you quite an accurate fuel consumption. And I've been checking that every time I fly. And to be quite honest, it's quite accurate, to be fair. So that's quite good, that. I think one of the more important parts that I thought was really good is the emergency contact part. And there you can put in an email address, your wife's phone number, or next of kin. And you can set a few settings. So I've got it set so that if I land and there's no movement whatsoever for 15 minutes, then she'll get a dropped pin to my location and an emergency sort of text message and email, which is really good. I think that's absolutely worth its weight in gold, to be fair. The other thing as well is if you land in a totally different place to where you were taking off, if that's something that's not planned, it'll do the same again. And I've tested that theory, by accident of course, by landing and not pressing stop on the recording, gone over and faffed around with my wing, getting everything packed up, and then my wife phoned asking if I'm okay. So that's good. System works, system tested. I hope I don't have to use that in real life. And to be honest, it's quite good for an engine out as well. If you have an engine out and there's nobody around to help you, honey, you're getting a phone call. So it's good for that. So if I went flying on my own and had an engine out or even an accident, at least I know that flight software is looking after me. Right, swapping hands because it's getting a bit cold. Oh, that's better. You can see my face again. So I hope that's helpful, and that's really my reasons for using Gaggle. Some people may have different reasons for using it, but I think the safety aspect of it alone is worth its weight in gold. The safety part, as in the emergency contact area, the field where you can put in your fuel burn, how much fuel you use, is an estimate, of course. I think the other great feature is when you take off and you're actually flying, the fact that it will show you the quickest way back to your LZ. Because as I said before, when I first took off on my very first flight, I was totally disorientated, and that's something you don't think about, and it's something to be aware of when taking up the sport, that as soon as you fly, things look different from above. And also, the wind might drift you to the right or left, so if you think the LZ's straight behind you, the reality is it's probably somewhere else. Another thing to be aware of is make sure before you go flying that your phone is charged right up to the max, because it uses GPS data and things like that. It can drain batteries quite quickly. I mean, to be honest, I've flown for a good hour and a half, and it's not even my phone isn't even halfway dead. But it's just something to be aware of. I have flown with my battery at about a quarter, going, oh damn, I forgot to charge my phone. So you just got to be careful. If you're relying on it, then make sure that you charge your phone. I hope that's been helpful. Just a little look around Gaggle. from what you can see on a computer. It's very similar to what's on your phone. I think the next thing is I'll get in the air and I'll show you how it actually works practically when flying. So from the dogs and I, they don't care, do they? I'll see you at a few thousand feet. Good morning, pilots. It's a dreary 8 o'clock morning here in Scotland, but hey, it's not raining and the wind's favourable. A flight's a flight. Let's go talk about Gaggle in the air. See you soon. That shot's got to be at least worth 20 subscribers, surely.
Right then, here we are again, usual field.
Go for it. Where's the wind?
Right then. Sadly, my Insta360, for some reason it's saying insufficient SD card space, so I've either forgot to put the SD card in, or I've put the wrong one in, so never mind. I'll worry about that later. So I'm afraid it's just front footage today, you don't get to see my ugly face. And we're up, everybody! Woo! Okay, let's talk about Gaggle. I'll just move my camera down a bit so you're not looking forward. I've no idea if you can see that, but we'll find out when we play this back. So here's Gaggle. A fantastic bit of software, in my opinion.
Just how dumb are you? It varies.
Right, there's Gaggle. So the first thing we do is press record and check your fuel. I've put 7 litres in, so let's make sure we've got 7 litres in, and then we press start record when we're ready to go. There we go, look at that, beautiful. Textbook, look at that, beautiful. And it's definitely recording, so that's good. Right then, we're good. So, we talked about Gaggle, and we talked about it pretty much in detail on the computer. And then when I was walking round Cowwood, which was the old Greyhound track. So, we'll go down and have a look at that actually while we're talking. So, Gaggle, right. So this is what it looks like on the screen. You saw the first thing I did was put in how much fuel I had, and that tells us down here. So I had 7 litres in, and now I've got 6.8 litres, and that's because I put in that this thing burns 4 litres an hour, which is actually a bit more than reality. Reality is this thing, I burn about 3.5 to 3.7 litres, but so I've given myself a little bit of leeway. Hello, Mr. Tractor Man. So that's basically why I've done that. So give myself a little bit of leeway. In there's 2 people flying with me. That's on my group. They're over there. That's Chris and Eric so far. Michael is just about to get up in the air, I think. We've all been doing reverse launches because I'm very happy with that reverse launch. Very happy with that indeed. So, and then over here, that tells us what aircraft is in the area. So we've got a small airfield down the back there, and there's a lot of light aircraft fly from there. We have a lot of helicopters fly to the North Sea for the oil industry here. So this will tell me when there's an aircraft in the vicinity. It will say something like, there's an aircraft at your 4 o'clock at 1,000 feet, it's 2 miles away. It's fantastic, and that tells us there. Apparently, according to this, there's 4 aircraft, but they're not on the map there, so you can't see them. That's the speed I'm doing, 26 miles per hour, which is not bad. My trims are in neutral, so not much to report there. This is my climb rate, so if I take my hand off the throttle and I start to drop, that'll go into a negative figure, and as I increase the throttle, that'll go into a positive figure. It's dancing around a bit, I know, but it takes a little while to figure out where I am. It's all GPS. That is my height above sea level, and that is my height above ground. So I'm at 750 feet from the deck. Over here, I've been flying for 5 minutes, and I've achieved 2.1 miles. Has Michael up in the air. And over here, that arrow tells me the quickest way back to my LZ. 2.4 miles away, which will take me 5 minutes. And over here is the airspace. And here is the direction of the wind. So I have a 7 mile per hour wind coming this way. Coming this way, if you can see that. So all very good stuff. Now, the good thing about this is I can see aircraft. I can also see where Eric is and Chris. So that's the important bit I was talking about earlier, yesterday actually, about basically Gaggle isn't just for navigation, it's for safety purposes as well. So it's good to know where everybody is that you're flying with. And I know exactly where everybody is, so that's good. This is my track. You can see the blue dotted line, that's the track I've flown. And I'm obviously coming this way, the arrow's pointing this way. And if I did some elaborate route all over the place, then this yellow line is the most direct route back. So I could be having engine problems, or I could be getting a little bit low on fuel, or I could just be freezing and I want to go back, or it's a bumpy flight, things like that. And there's reasons you go, do you know what? I think I'm gonna fly back now. So that'll take you by the most direct route back as well. So it's really good for that. So if I turn around and follow that yellow line, that'll take me straight back. Also, that dotted line is the path I've just taken. And as I said to you before, when I first did this, it was incredibly disorientating when I first went up in the air, because I'd actually drifted. And so the LZ where I was landing was in a totally different place to where I thought it was. So this, you can see I've not drifted, it's almost a straight line, it's not bad. So you can see that I was drifting. Now let's go toward the old Greyhound track that I was talking about at a place called Cowwood. Pitfall Lake over there, very nice.
Stormy clouds will pass over me, and the fear I hold inside will be no longer. Still it seems that love has taken so long, and the waiting feels like a never-ending heartache. I'm loving you more than I ever have. I'm loving you. I am loving you more.
Beautiful. So there you go. So there you can see I'm now facing, I haven't got my glasses on, I'm now facing this way, almost north, and that's the quickest way. So if I took a right, that would take me home. And according to this, 5 miles, 12 minutes it would take me. So far I've been flying for 12 minutes, done 5 miles, I'm at 700 feet, 22 miles per hour. There's 2 aircraft in the vicinity, but they've not come up on my gaggle to tell me exactly where they are, so there can't be a threat. And I've got 6.2 litres of fuel left. I've got a tailwind now, coming back to my bottom at 7 miles per hour. Beautiful. So here's the dog track. You can see, so there's the greyhound track. It goes all the way around there. And that's where I walked yesterday. Kind of walked around here. You can see where the forest has been, shall we say, decimated after the storm, and so they cut quite a lot of this. So this was all forest. But you can see the circle of the dog track. I'll put some factoids up in a minute. But this is White Cow Wood. And over there, you basically walk down there and you can park your car up there. Lovely. What a lovely, lovely evening, honestly. Right, where's the chaps? So let's have a look on Gaggle again, see where my friends are. Yeah, before you say I've got friends, so they're way over here. So they're way over there. You can see there's a slight airspace bubble down there. That's because of Longside Airfield. So a lot of aircraft there. So we keep out of that circle. We'll be flying from there in the summer actually, because we've kind of joined our wee club. So very happy with that. So there you go. I hope that was a little bit useful on Gaggle. Again, all of this is on there on the front screen. Best not fannying around with it because you'll end up getting lost. But the good thing is I've got my speed, I've got my climb rate, I've got my height, I've got my time in the air, I've got the most direct route back, and here, tailwind, and I can see where all my friends are. Fuel consumption, so I'm at 6.3 litres, so that's about an hour and a half of flying, so I can stay up here for an hour and a half. It's lovely. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Oh my god, 1,500 feet.